Hey there, lovely people. Welcome to Be Your Best You with Tash and Becky, your go-to hangout for all things spiritual, subconscious, and downright magical. We're here to sprinkle a little mystical wisdom into your everyday life and help you level up your reality.
Picture this as your cosmic coffee date, where we chat about the unseen world, blend in some psychology vibes and stir up the subconscious magic. Get ready to be the queen of your own reality, live a life that lights you up and have a blast doing it.
So grab your latte or your tea and let's dive into another episode of Be Your Best You, where the mystical meets the mundane and your best life awaits.
Cheers to creating magic together.
Let's do this.
Hello!
Hi.
Welcome back to another episode of Be Your Best You with Tash
And Becky.
Lovely to have you all after our summer break.
Yes, it's lovely to be back.
It is, isn't it? It's like this is our first episode back after the summer.
Yeah.
And though we have some podcasts recorded already in the bank, we're going to push this one up,
Yes.
aren't we? Because it's relevant.
It's to now.
Yeah. And also we just want to get it out there, don't we?
We
Because
do.
it's kind of a juicy one. As you've probably already seen from the title.
Yes.
It's story time today.
Story time. Yeah. I love Tash's story.
Oh my gosh.
This is a good one though.
Yes. Even, I mean, when it happened, I couldn't wait to tell Becky. I wanted to like get straight on the text and tell her. And I was like, no, just wait till you see her. It needs to be a whole thing. I need to tell her from the start. I need to set the scene. And I did, didn't I?
You did.
And then when I told her, and I said to her, like when I was on holiday, I said, something's happened. You're going to be so angry, but don't be, because I am cool and I'm breezy and it's all good. And as soon as I say that, Becky knows someone said something about me that she's going to get really angry.
And I know, I'm already angry before I even hear it.
But I'm like, no, Bex, here's why you don't need to be angry.
Yeah, and well, just listen and then it'll all make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And so, and again, the reason we shared it was because you said, didn't you? You were like, this needs to be, like, we need to talk about this because there's so many lessons. As we were talking about it, we realised how many lessons there were in. And it was also a great way to illustrate our, like, healing journey. Like along the way, and all the stages we've had to go through. I say this is specifically about me, but we've been on it together, haven't we? But the stages that I had to go through to be able to come out of that situation in the way that I did.
And it's such a good example. Like, since you told me the story, within like 2 days or a day, I told 2 of my family members because it was relevant to what we were talking about, and such a great example of what I was trying to say.
Yes.
So it was, it's a good one on lots of levels.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. And we're hoping that by talking about this, obviously it's kind of a juicy story, and everyone loves a story, don't they? But actually we're hoping that as we go through and tell the story, we can break each part down and use it to demonstrate and to show you, like, the work that you can do and how you can actually go about being in the same position that I am now, which has taken a lot of work and a lot of effort. But when you see how I can come out of that situation in such an empowered way, it's worth all of it and more, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's get on with it.
Let's tell a story, then it will make sense.
Yes. Okay.
Because I could start talking about all sorts right now.
So I'll tell the story, and I'm going to tell Bex as though she hasn't heard it, but she has. So, okay. We all know, like, I was on holiday.
Yeah.
And I think I started off by saying, actually, because again, so many lessons here. I started off by saying, this is the first holiday. Oh, by the way, I just want to say, I'm getting vulnerable in this episode.
You are.
Yeah.
You really are.
Because we also said, didn't we, when we said we need to share this, there would have been a time where I couldn't have even told anyone about the story. I would have been so embarrassed.
That's right.
I wouldn't have wanted to.
You wouldn't have told anyone.
No.
Kept it all in.
Yeah. But now,
and now you're on a
share
podcast.
Yeah.
Telling everybody. Can you believe it?
So that in itself is awesome, isn't it?
It is.
But yeah, so kind of started before the holiday, really.
Yeah.
And I have to say that I was the heaviest, probably, that I had been before a holiday in years. And I felt the most kind of like, uncomfortable in my clothes in terms of, I could do with a little bit of weight, things are a bit tight, they're not looking as nice as they usually do. Now, before, and all my holidays before, and everyone's going to be able to relate to this, that listens to this, women mostly, but men too, men feel the same, don't they? But, before you go on holiday, you're like, oh, I better eat better, like restricting, worrying about what bikini you're going to wear, or, oh, do I wear a bikini even? You know, should I wear a swimming costume? Oh my gosh, I need to get to the gym. All of the stuff that you worry about before you go on holiday. And I have always experienced that. And no, I've never like allowed it to really get me down, because I just never have let that kind of stuff get me down too much. It's there, and it puts a downer on the holiday, doesn't it? It puts a dampener on it, and for what? For what? Because you're going there anyway, and nobody cares.
No one else
cares.
No.
But it's very real to you, because we care, don't we? So anyway, that's just like everybody else. That's how I've always experienced my pre-holiday thoughts. So anyway, that being said, before this holiday, bearing in mind, it's also, I was going on holiday because it was my 40th birthday. So that's another thing, isn't it? It's like that milestone where you're like, oh, I'm turning 40. It's all downhill from there. Oh, I'm worried that I'm not in the best shape. I'm feeling like... And I had so few, I don't want to say none of those thoughts, because I'd be lying.
You acknowledged that you felt heavier than you've been before.
But I didn't care.
No.
I didn't care. I got my bikinis out before, my swimming costumes, whatever, before I went, and I put them on, and I was like, can't wear that one. And I found a bikini there. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to wear that one. I've got swimming costumes as well, but I like a tan. As you can see, if people are watching, I tan quite well.
You can see who's been to Dubai and who hasn't.
And I do like to get a tan. And because I tan so quickly, and so I go so dark, if I don't have my belly out, I have got I'm very dark on all the places that are exposed, and then I've got a white belly. And I personally, no one else is seeing my body apart from my husband, but I don't like looking at it. So I'm like, no, I want to get a tan on my belly. Definitely. And I'm not going to let anyone or my thoughts of other people stop me. So that's my thoughts of wearing a bikini anyway. So I get this bikini, I feel comfortable in it, because it's a bit more high-waisted than my other ones. I look in the mirror, and I don't particularly like it's not how I would like to look. And yet I could still go, do you know what? Awesome. I'm going to wear that. So that was a real big thing for me. That was a massive realization that with all those points that I just mentioned, and being the heaviest I've been for a long, long time, I felt the most happy and comfortable about going on holiday. And that is a testament to how much work has gone in, and the incredible effects of doing this kind of like self-love, self-work boosting. And also, it's not just that; it's attacking all the limiting beliefs. The fear of judgment, and even the societal beliefs of you have to look a certain way to be attractive, or etc. All of that, like, it's just broken it all down, and it just demonstrated to me before I even got on holiday how how we always say you create your own reality. You can create a life full of your joy and all your great desires. This is like the real nitty gritty of how you are creating a reality. Before, I was creating a reality of kind of like self-consciousness and misery and anxiety, because I was just worried in my mind about what I would look like on a beach in a bikini. And here now, this year, I'm creating a reality that I'm happy, I'm loving life, I'm allowed to be excited for my holiday, I'm comfortable in myself, I feel great because I feel comfortable in myself, and I feel free and empowered. And that is creating reality. Because these words get chucked around, we use them a lot, and they can become a little bit like, oh God, it's cliche, or really saying you create your own reality again. But this is what we mean. Like, these are the real true life nuances and experiences of creating your own reality. And it's huge.
And changing that lens, it's the lens you're looking through, and that then projects out of you anyway, doesn't it? And you find that well, maybe not in this case, but you find that people are drawn to you even more so when you're feeling these things, like
100%.
genuinely.
Yes.
Because you've got to fake it till you make it a little bit, haven't you?
And you've got to keep telling yourself. It's almost like you do have to fake it till you make it, but I think it's deeper than that as well. It's almost like you don't fake it till you make it because you genuinely don't feel that way, and you can't. If you don't feel confident or that you love yourself, you don't.
No.
But what it is, it's about accepting how you feel about yourself and continuing to tell yourself a different story. That's the faking it part. Yes, I feel like this, but I'm telling myself a different story. Even though I don't believe that story yet, I'm going to continue telling myself that story anyway. And when you can keep on doing that, that's the faking part. Then you're rewiring your mind, and then it becomes
one
automatic.
Day you just do it
100%, and it works. So that's the pre-story to how I felt before I went on holiday. So we get on holiday. I'm all good. I get my bikini on, feel comfortable out in the pool, in the beach, and I wasn't feeling self-conscious walking around. I found myself standing up taller and more confident, and amazing. It was so empowering. I remember, like, I walked up to the pool, and instead now I tell myself is maybe people are looking at me, and maybe people are saying, "Oof, look at her in that bikini," or looking and thinking, "Oh, she's bigger than me. I'm not that big, am I?" Or because you know why I know that? Because we all have those thoughts. I'm not a horrible person. No. But if I'm being completely honest, when people walk around, oh, look at them, and without even knowing that I'm doing it, I'm observing, and I'm making. Now, I am not thinking about it in any kind of spiteful or horrible way, but I will look and think, oh, yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Like you would like, oh, they've got red hair. Oh, they've got black hair. It's like it is an observation.
It's an observation. Yeah. This is the thing. It's not. We tend to think people are going to look at us and make a judgment. Yeah. But so many people will look at you. Yeah. And they will observe something that you potentially don't want them to observe. Yeah. But they're not judging you for it. Does that make sense? It does. And you do it as well. And if you are honest, you know, like that's quite a brave thing for me to say. Yeah. Because, you know, I don't like that I do it, but I'm a human and I observe. Yeah. And you have to be honest with you. You have to get down to these really deep, uncomfortable thoughts that you have. Yeah. So that you can realize that it's not coming from a place of judgment. You are not judging that person. You're making an observation. You're a human being, and then it's gone. Yes. You don't care.
No, and you don't think about
it. And you don't think about it. And people, when you accept, rather than try and tell yourself, oh no, people don't care about me, which people don't, by the way. And a lot of the time, people aren't looking at you or thinking things that you think they're thinking. Yeah. That's one point. Yeah. But if you can accept, I'm going to walk down this pool and people are going to look at me and think, oh, her legs are rubbing together when she goes down. Oh, look, her legs are jiggling a little bit. Okay. So they are going to think that. What does that matter? No. Who cares? Because then they're going to go back and read their book. Yeah. Or they're going to go and get in the pool and be self-conscious themselves about walking to the pool. Yeah. It makes no difference. So when you can accept, and I can't say this enough, and I know it sounds so simple, but when you can accept that the worst things you're thinking about yourself, someone could potentially be saying about you, then there's no other fear. Because what is there to fear? If you say, yeah, they are thinking that. Yeah. And then what? Yeah. And then what? Yeah. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? And that's really empowering. So that every time I thought that, I found myself standing taller and taller and feeling more and more confident. And funnily enough, looking in the mirror and going, I actually do look quite good. Yeah, I do. Like I've got a little bit of like, you know, a bigger thigh at the top, but I still look good. I feel good. Yeah. It's really
that
weird.
Perception again, isn't it? You're not necessarily seeing the bad things then. Like that when we spoke about your washroom.
Yes, the laundry.
Laundry. You could walk in that room and see all the laundry on the floor or whatever, or you can see the beauty.
Exactly.
And it's that reprogramming of your mind that you've managed to do. So.
Exactly. But if anything from that part of the story, please, if you can, try and get to a point where you can just go, yeah, that person could be thinking that of me. and so what?
Yeah.
Because it's really helpful. So anyway, we go to, let's get into the this is where it starts. We go to dinner one night, and I could see my husband staring kind of past through me. I'm like, what are you staring at? Staring. He's like, oh, there's just a horrible, horrible woman over there. I said, oh, what's she done? And he had been watching her, and she was talking to the staff badly. They were making her some pasta or something. She came over and she went, where's my pasta? Give me my pasta, or something like that. She was so rude. And it was funny because I'd already clocked her on the way around the buffet or something, and I saw the way she was kind of talking to her daughter. Just, you know, when you can see people looking at people and they look down at people, and I really don't like that. It's one of my pet peeves. I hate people who feel like they're superior. Because it just really grates on me. So I knew before I turned around who he was talking about. So anyway, that's the kind of person this woman was. Wasn't pleasant.
No.
We went to the pool the next day, and sure enough, she was there again, causing a scene with the pool staff, saying something to them, telling them that they should be. Oh, there was a man.
That man.
So there was this guy. Bless him. You know, he was in what I would say were pretty much equivalent to Speedos. But they looked a little bit closer to underwear, but it was Speedos. And she went and she complained about him to the pool attendant and said, can you believe he's wearing that? I don't want to look at that. I don't want to see that. No one wants to see that in the pool. Tell him to go away, get rid of him, kind of thing. And then the next thing I see, the man walking away from the pool. It broke my heart. It was horrible. She was just
and that gives you a good idea of what this woman is like.
And she
and no oil painting herself, may I just say. Apparently I wasn't there, but
nevertheless, and she had a daughter with her as well, which really actually upset me. Because her daughter probably was about 13, and you could see the way she was behaving. You could see, I was listening to conversations that she was having with her daughter, and again with the work that I do now and how I know about programming, and it was really upsetting me to think this little girl was going to turn out to be exactly like her mum, because this is all she's getting. But because I know that, I am also able to be so compassionate with the person, the adult as well, because I know that she was that little girl once.
True.
And I cannot see, doesn't matter how horrible people are, I will always be able to have compassion for them and think of what happened to them when they were children to make them like that. And I'm not, you know, like how sometimes people go, oh God, she must have had a really bad childhood to turn out like that. You know, it's not like that. I so deeply feel sorry, and well, I suppose it's compassion and understanding for those people, because they don't know any better. Their parents brought them up to be like that, same as their parents' parents brought them up to be, and that's how it goes. And so I think that gives me a really great skill.
Definitely.
To be able to have that compassion. Which I appreciate. Not everyone is going to be able to feel that, because they're not seeing what I'm seeing on a daily basis. Of how what happens to you as a child can really create the person you are as an adult. And how you have absolutely no control over that as a child.
And I've always struggled with that. Like you've helped me with that, and it is so useful, isn't it? Once you can, I'm still not there like you are, but you've always naturally, I think, you didn't have to teach yourself to be like that. You've always been like that. You've always just seen, you've always like felt compassion for people, haven't you? Whereas I was a bit more like, lock them up and throw away the key. So I have had, you've trained me, and it's a game changer, really, isn't it?
Well, like it's everything, because it makes a difference to you.
You don't hold on to, if you can feel compassion for that person, which is like, even me saying it now, I know it sounds like so crazy, and you can't just, like you say, just get there, like, oh, well, just feel compassion for everybody and you'll be fine. Just, they can treat you however they want to treat you, but be, you know, it's not, you've got to go through the whole process to be able to see it, haven't you?
It's a journey, and there's step by steps, and I'm very aware now, telling this story, and I said this to you when I was telling you, didn't I? It didn't just happen overnight. I didn't just get to do this overnight. there were so many lessons and things that I've had to learn in order to be able to genuinely feel this way. Because if someone had told me, like, just have forgiveness for everyone, just be compassionate to everyone, it's not their, it's not their fault, but just have compassion for everyone and forgive them and let them do
whatever.
And don't take it personally. I would have said, what are you on about?
Exactly.
But now I'm at this point where I've done the work and I truly believe it and I truly see it. And I just, I really would love for as many people as possible to be able to be in this position, because this, again, is how you get to live a life that's enjoyable and not a life that's miserable and full of anxiety and worry and self-consciousness,
which would ripples out. So you're on holiday with your family, say that woman had been say you didn't see that compassion for that woman and why she was being so nasty about that man and everybody else, you would have then made it uncomfortable for your husband, for Chris, because that would have wound him up more. He already doesn't like her. Then the kids would have been like, she's making me feel uncomfortable. So, it spreads out. Whereas you're making Chris, just ignore her, sort of thing. You can sort of,
dampen it down.
Because what we're doing is we're letting that one horrible person in this whole resort ruin your experience, aren't you?
And that's what, at this point, so she's already made a spectacle in the pool already. We've got like a really good idea of who she is, and it's like a car crash, isn't it? You don't want to look at it, you shouldn't look at it, but you can't help but looking. And you zone in on these people now, don't you? Because you're like, what's she going to say next? It's almost like a little bit, you're not doing much when you're on holiday anyway, are you? And you're kind of like looking for some entertainment, and God, was she that? But just in a horror way. But anyway, so Chris was definitely had his eye on her, and I was like, just do it, just do it. She's just not, it's not worth it. Don't. Anyway. I think I've set the scene of what kind of person this lady is. But again, poor her. So we're in the pool, Chris and I, and in the pool they've got these little. It was a lovely pool, it was huge, and they've got these little islands with a tree in the middle of it, spaced around the pool, and around the tree they've kind of built this island with tiles around it in a square that was basically a perfect place to lay down and sunbathe, get the sun, but being slightly out of the water, but the water was kind of touching the top. Does that make sense? So people were laying on there sunbathing, and I was looking, thinking, that looks like a good place to sunbathe. But it's very exposed. Because you're in the middle of the pool, you're up higher to everyone. It's very much like,
you're on
look
show.
At me, you're on show. So as Chris said to me, he got up and lay down, and he went, "Oh, Tash, this is great. You're going to love laying up here. This is a great sunbathing spot." And I said to him, no, I don't think I want to lay up there, Chris. It's a little bit too on show for me. I have a bikini on. It's a little bit too on show for me. I don't want to do that. And he was like, suit yourself. And then I thought to myself again, because this is what I do. This is the constant work that I never stop doing. I was like, right, okay, what have I said here? Why do I not want to do that? It's because I feel self-conscious in my bikini. I don't want people to look at me in my bikini because I'm worried about what they think. Oh, well, hang on a second, Tash, you don't want to do that. Do you know what? Get up there and put yourself out of your comfort zone and lay there and get a tan on your belly. Because why not? Who cares? So I get up, I lay down, and so I had as I said, I had a high-waisted bikini on. So what I did, again, pushing myself out of my comfort zone, because I thought, well, I could lay here and just with my bikini like this, but now I've got half my belly covered, so I'm going to get a weird tan line. It's all about the tan lines, the motivation for my personal growth journey. For goodness sake. So I was like, when I lay on a sunbed where I'm a little bit alpha show, I just pull the bikini down to be a normal side bikini so I can get my whole belly tan.
As everyone does, don't they?
Probably.
In those environments.
And then why would you not? So I did. I kind of pulled my bikini down a bit lower. And again, when I did it, I was like, God,
you were very aware.
I'm now very aware that I'm very exposed. I pulled my bikini down a bit. And you know, when you get like, when you roll it down, it gets a bit tighter, it cuts in. I'm like, oh God, I think my love handles are being cut in. And again, I was just like, no, just do it.
Amazing.
So I'm laying there. Bear in mind, all of this has just gone on. I've had all of these thoughts, all of this conversation. And I've got my eyes closed and I'm like, oh, this is actually really nice.
Oh.
This is really good. So I'm getting my tan. And I was proud of myself because I also now am really good at congratulating myself and acknowledging my achievements and where I've stepped out and pushed past my limiting beliefs and all of that. So I'm just having a little party to myself. And then, bear in mind, I've got my eyes closed. And then I hear the voice. And she's got a very distinct voice. And it's her and her child. Oh, and also I should say that I've heard them around the pool bitching about everybody in the pool. Which just
horrible.
So there, I hear this voice come, and I literally couldn't actually believe it. No. I heard this woman say to her kid as she's walking in the pool, "Look at the state of that." And I was like, right, she can't. Don't assume she's talking about you. Yeah. Don't. And then her kid, as kids do, when you know, like they say things loudly, and you're like, oh, shh. She went, what? That one lying on the side of the pool. Yeah. And I was like, oh wow, they are talking about me.
Talk about a lesson from the universe. They wanted you to know.
I know. It was such a lesson, and it was so funny. So at the second I heard that, my stomach dropped. Like my heart dropped into my stomach because of course it's going to.
Because you can't think, oh, they'll be talking about someone else.
It was so very obvious that it was me. Yeah. I heard a little bit of like, because the mum had obviously got angry that the kid had said it so loud. She's trying to quietly bitch about people to her, and her kids just shouted it out loud. It was clearly obvious I would have heard that. They were right next to me. They were like literally walking past me when they said it. Now, I think back now and I was like, why didn't you just open your eyes and look at them? But I was in shock when I heard it. Yeah. So I lay there with my eyes closed. But after, it was a split second that my heart dropped into my stomach. And then I smiled.
Yeah. And you did a little chuckle.
I chuckled to myself. And it was truly a split second that I felt that like a gut punch. And then I smiled and laughed. And it was like, everything that I'd been working on and that I thought, and despite all the things I was thinking about myself, just allowed me to go, oh, that's about her. It's not about you. Yeah. And I was laying there and telling myself, you know, I've got this like voice in my head now that's so positive. It's such a cheerleader. And it's like, that's a her thing.
It's everything to
do with her
and nothing
to do with me. And even if I do look a state, that's okay as well. I'm happy with that. But I don't have to take that personally. No. I get to choose whether I'm going to let her ruin my day, let her confirm my beliefs about how I look, or let her change how I feel about myself, and therefore go on and ruin my day, other holidays, stop me from wearing bikinis ever again, start me on a spiral of self-hate and hating my body.
And for what?
And for what?
This awful woman to take all your power away, and she has no idea. So you're not punishing her for her bad behaviour. No.
She'll go along. She'll spend the rest of the day bitching about other people. Yeah. Because clearly she feels so insecure and so awful about herself that that's all she can do. Yeah. And she won't give me another second thought. No. And this happens so many times in people's lives. Yeah. And yet you will go on and hold that, and you will allow that to spiral and snowball out of control and reach every single area of your life that you couldn't even imagine. And like you said, for what? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So I had all those thoughts, and then I was like, okay, so I don't take this personally. I didn't feel horrible at all. Right. Apart from that initial, I felt completely fine. Yeah. And then I was like, right, okay, this is the next stage, Tash. Yeah. Send her love, because I don't want to hold on to that negativity. Because again, allowing her to make me feel, or giving her the power to make me feel bad about myself is one thing. But then there's the other thing of just allowing her negativity to put a taint on my life in just in general and negative. I don't want to have, I'm so precious about my energy and how I just want to be a loving person and spread that positive energy. I can't have those kind of thoughts stopping me from doing that. And I choose not to let her affect mine and everyone else's life, because me being positive and happy affects other people's lives too. So I can't have her ruin that for other people either.
No.
So the next thing I'm working on is like sending her love, but being real with it, really being able to do that and forgive her. And that was where the battle began, because I'm still laying there, with my bikini down, like exposed as I am, laying there working this through myself. And I was like, right, send her love, send her love. Now, how do I do that? Because that sounds like la la la, send her love. So I'll explain how I try and do it.
Yeah.
You know, I try and just think about her as a soul. Because again, this having this unseen understanding of the unseen world, the bigger picture of we are not just our human selves, we are so much more than that. This is a really big important thing for me, and it's a really big important thing for my work as well. The fact that I can see everybody as this perfect, and I truly do, as this perfect soul that's come down here. We're all the same, we're all connected, we're all from the same place, of the same source, of the same being, whatever, however you want to say it. We are all that goodness, that light. Then we come down to this earth, the layers get piled on us, you know, like exactly like she's doing to her child. So her child came down a bright light, unprogrammed, pure source. And then because of what's happened to her, she is now putting those layers on her child. Okay. So, but they are inherently good. And I see everybody like that. I have to. It's what makes me good at my job. And it's what is helping me to be a compassionate person. So when I can see her like that and I'm trying to send her love, I don't see her as that horrible person. I try and see her as that glowing light, as that pure source that is under there. It's just been dimmed. It's just been covered up with those layers. And that is how I get myself to be able to send her love. So then I'll see that and I'll just think, oh, I'm so sorry you've had these things happen to you that put these layers on you. And I understand why you feel like why you've said those things about me. And I understand that that's coming from you and your childhood and what's happened to you and the lessons you've learned and how you see the world. And I also understand that it's got nothing to do with me. And I send her love by that way. So by thinking of that, I'm actually detaching from the horrible person. So I'm not being like, la la la, everything's roses. In fact, I appreciate that how she's behaving is not acceptable, and I don't like it and I don't agree with it. But I understand who she truly is, and I understand why she's behaving like that. And I understand it's got nothing to do with me, and that's the most important thing. Because when you can detach from those personal emotions, you are able to have that compassion for someone else. Because as long as you think that it's about you and you're taking it on as something wrong with you, you're consumed with that feelings. You can't possibly send love to somebody else.
It's a bit like the victim again, isn't it? You make it about you and, oh, she made me feel
exactly
insecure,
that.
and then you're angry with them for they made you a certain way, and now you're never going to wear a bikini again.
Exactly.
You're hideous.
That's it. And yes, exactly that. And you have a choice. You get to choose. And this is what I mean when I always say you have a choice. And this is linked to the victim mentality. If you're living in victim mentality mode, you will always say you don't have a choice. If you're out of victim mentality mode, you are appreciating that you do have a choice. And that is the choice. The choice is I choose to give my power away to someone, or I choose to empower myself. And I choose how I'm going to let this affect me. Because nobody can make you feel a certain way. You make you feel a certain way. Just as I was able to make myself feel completely non-bothered about what she said about me, I could have also chosen to let her make me feel awful about myself. That's the choice. it is. And
when you hear it like that, you all know which one you want to take, isn't it? But I know it's not as easy as that.
No.
You can't just say flick a switch, can you? You know, this has taken you a long time to get to that point. But when you hear it like that, it makes sense, and it's like, well, yeah, why wouldn't you choose that way?
Yeah,
because that is the only way to release that energy from you. And like you say, when you're precious about your energy and you understand that, you'll do anything to get that off of you and away from you. Now, how can you do that if you can't forgive? You're not approving, you're not saying, oh, come on, let's be besties, and I agree with everything you do, and you're doing it for you. You're forgiving them for you.
Exactly, not for them. And it's not condoning.
No,
it's not about, because I don't condone her behaviour.
No.
I don't condone how she spoke to the chef. I don't condone how she spoke to the pool assistant. I don't condone what she said about me, but I forgive her for it.
Yes.
And I do truly think that having that bigger perspective of everybody is good, everybody is inherently good, and come down to inherently good. I mean, all you have to do, if you're struggling to understand that, is think of a little baby.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. When you were talking, I was like, yeah, that little baby with that little light inside them, totally innocent.
It's totally innocent. It's totally pure. A baby doesn't come out of the womb evil.
No, everyone was that at one point.
And if you were that, it means it is still within you. You are still in. If that's how you came in at your purest form, you are still like that.
Yeah.
And like I said again, these layers of things that happen to us as we're growing up, things that we're taught, the way we're taught to see the world and see ourselves, the things we learn about ourselves from what happens to us and what we make it mean about ourselves. Those are the things that make us, in inverted commas, not very nice people. And listen, again, this comes back to victim mentality. I'm not excusing her behavior and saying it's not her fault and she's just powerless to do anything. No, it's her responsibility to change the way she is.
Yes.
But this is where, you know, some people will get that and will come to an awareness of, do you know what, I don't want to be like this anymore and I want to change. And some people, she might go through her whole life never realizing that she needs to change or never wanting to change, and so she won't, and that's okay too, because that's her journey. That's the life. And again, past life regressions have really helped me with this, because I take people through these lives where they're horrible people and they do lots of things that they regret, and when I take them to their death and they're out of their body and they're looking down at their life, and I say, you know, what have you learned from this life? And they say, I wish I had done this, or I wish I had been a better person, I wish I had loved more, except, you know, whatever they've done, I wish I hadn't done that because I've wasted that life. And from seeing that you know, over and over again in past life regressions, it's really helped me in my own life to think, come on, I don't want to get to the end of it and feel that. I want to be able to say I did the best I could. I was always trying to be better. And, you know, I always tried to do it with love. And I couldn't have said that 5 years ago. This whole do it with love thing, send love.
It would be so foreign, wouldn't it? God, we would have been rolling our eyes.
Yes, it didn't mean anything to me, really. It just agitated me.
It was nonsense, wasn't it?
It was like, oh,
it
give it
didn't
love.
make sense.
No. But now, because of what I've experienced from people's past lives, from seeing people's childhoods and why they are the way they are now, I can't see it any other way. And it makes it so easy to be able to forgive people because I understand them. I understand. And I want to share it. I want to share it on here because not everybody is going to have the opportunity to be able to have hours of time spent in past lives and learning things from that. You know, not everyone's going to get to do the job that I do, where I get to see on a daily basis over and over again. And bear in mind, repetition is what teaches your subconscious mind, is what you learn from. I'm seeing over and over again on a daily basis how humans are created, how our personalities and identities are created. And so I know I have that. I'm lucky that I get to have that understanding, and I want to share it with other people who aren't going to get that, in the hopes that you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. And so this whole love concept and forgiveness concept can be, you know, you might not roll your eyes at it. You might be able to go, oh, do you know what? Okay, I can see that. I don't necessarily feel it within me yet, but I can at least understand where you're coming from. And that's great, because at least if you can understand that concept, you can work towards practicing it in your lives and on a daily basis, and it will integrate. And then you'll get to a point where you'll go, oh, I know what Tash is talking about now. I feel it, and I can just do it. Because I just want to say as well, having said all this, I was laying there on that edge of that pool for what was probably about 4 or 5 minutes, battling with myself to send her love. And then it would come back and I'd go, oh, what cow, I can't believe she said that. But no, send her love. Oh, and it would creep back in again. No, she's evil. Like that is no, send her love. And I didn't leave the side of that pool until I had stayed at rest with the whole send her love, and I could smile. I had diffused all those emotions. And I think this is another important thing as well. I think we've spoken about in the podcast before, you have to feel your emotions. It takes your emotions a minute and a half, something like that, to actually fully pass through your body. And our problem as humans, we don't want to feel our emotions. So we push down, we suppress, we hold on to them, and that is what causes disease. And again, this is a whole nother lesson, that by learning that, like you were saying earlier about being precious about my energy and what I will and won't take on and what I will and won't allow, when it comes down to it, that is what I'm doing it for, because I refuse to hold on to I was such a compartmentalizer, a pusher downer, a don't acknowledge, just carry on going, positive, push through, you can do it. And so I had so many repressed emotions stored up within me, which led to resentment and a feeling of underappreciation and, you know, under acknowledgement and all of that kind
and
of stuff.
losing your own
My sense of identity. Yes, absolutely. So I refused to do that anymore. I took a long time to get those feelings out, and it was a hard lesson to learn. And it was very uncomfortable, and I don't want to ever do that again. Not to mention that, you know, I don't want to get sick. So actually at the end of the day, I know this sounds dramatic, but I don't want that woman there to end up causing cancer in me, or diabetes, or whatever the disease turns out to be, arthritis. You know, I will not allow her to let me do that. I won't allow myself, I won't allow myself to allow her to do that to me. Does that make sense? You've got to be really careful with the words, because it's not her responsibility, it's my responsibility, but I don't want to give her the power to do that to me. There we go, that's better. And that is what, again, I live my life by. And that's why another thing that enables me to be able to let it go, let her go, and then send her love, which is something separate. So it's so important that while I was laying there on that pool, I was allowing all those emotions to go through me. And it's so funny, because if you think about it now, I was going, if someone could like illustrate what was going on within me or something, or like it would be, and like, you probably look so serene. Oh yeah, I was just laying there still, but like I was going like, but there was love, and then there was anger, and then there was like, frustration, come on, no, do it, you know, up, down, crazy load of feelings going on, and so many feelings I can't even articulate them all. I've felt them all, like really viscerally. I felt them all, but throughout all of it, because of the reprogramming I've done with hypnotherapy, with all the inner child work, with all the spiritual stuff, that voice constantly inside me was helping me to do the positive things. And when I say the positive things, it's the things I've specifically trained my mind to do for me, which is have a positive perspective, to love myself, to not fear judgment, to speak up for myself, to face uncomfortable feelings. There's just hundreds of things that I've programmed myself with to be able to do for me subconsciously and automatically, that I'm still a human. I do still feel those feelings, because
Yeah.
I think sometimes we have these unrealistic expectations that we want to just never feel bad.
Yeah.
And we always want to feel great and great feelings. And this is how, if you're going to do the spiritual work or the self-development work, we're going to always feel great and amazing. No, we're human, so we're still going to feel those feelings. But the great thing about doing this work and having this understanding is that you are getting your mind to work for you in a positive way that is going to get you through those uncomfortable feelings and back to a state of happiness and peace and calm and fulfillment, or whatever it is that you want to feel. So it's so important that I laid on that pool side until I'd allowed those feelings, that roller coaster of feelings, to pass through me, and I got myself back to a neutral place. At which point I pulled my bikini pants up, jumped down from the pool, went over to Chris on the other side who was sunbathing up, and I went, Chris, guess what? Someone just told me I looked a state. And he was like, what? Who said that? And I was like, guess. And he was like, oh, and I could see like the rage, and I went, just don't. I'm telling you, because I just want to acknowledge how amazing like it is. Look at me, look, I'm smiling, I'm laughing, I feel fine. I'm like, so don't get mad, because I feel great. And I've sent her love. And he's like rolling his eyes going, oh Tash. I'm like, seriously. I was like, please, I feel so good.
And you wanted to share it. And you know, once upon a time you wouldn't have told anybody that.
No. Shame.
My God.
Oh, the shame.
And to acknowledge you know, because you don't want to feel those feelings. You know, you would never have, and you don't want to upset anyone either.
And you internalise it. That's the problem, isn't it?
And I think when someone else is upset, that makes you feel worse about what's happened. Like, you're already upset, and now you're upset, which is confirming to me that I should be upset.
Yes, exactly. And you know, Chris started going, how could she say that? You're not a state, you know, did all the nice stuff about me. And then I said to him, I said, Chris, I don't need you to tell me that, because I know I don't look a state. But also I know that with my bikini rolled down like that, it probably wasn't the best look. Like, I appreciate that. That's all. You know, loads of people are there. I've done it. You lay down there and you're like trying, you've got your knees up in a certain angle, you're trying to look like good. Well, no, I was laying there with my bikini rolled down, all folded up. No, I didn't look the picture perfect, but I don't care. I'm happy with that, because I was doing what I wanted to do, and that was, I wanted to get a tan on my belly. I wanted to lay up there because I genuinely did, and there was loads of things that could have stopped me from doing that, and all of them were about other people. And I chose to put myself and my needs first. And that is just amazing. Like, if everybody could do that, everybody would be living in a reality of just amazingness. And I, you know, the story is now complete. And I just think it's just so important to share that, because I want to say it's possible for you to get get to that point,
because they don't teach us this stuff.
No,
you know, it wasn't until we found the spirituality stuff that things started making sense, because no one teaches you at school. I mean, no one really, you know, unless you've got a parent that's spiritual, I suppose, which is what we're trying to do for us. I mean, like I say, the first person I told your story to was my daughter. I mean, what an amazing, empowering story. And especially as obviously she knows Tash and knows how beautiful she is, you know. So for her, in her mind, you know, if that's happened to you and how you've dealt with it, that's, hopefully she'll remember that story. It would have made an impact, because that's so not what she would expect somebody to say about you. And how you turned that into something empowering and didn't let that woman take any of your power away from you and ruin your holiday, ruin so many things, and ruined your family's holiday,
and ruin holidays in the future.
The way you look at yourself, you know, whether you're going to go home and not eat for a while, all these awful things. No, you're not. And
you know, this is the thing. This is where things spiral out as well. Is because we're just talking about me being on a beach in a bikini or on a pool by a bikini, and that's like your whole body image and stuff. But the thing is again, something that I've learned with doing the work that I do. everything is in your life, in your personality, is so intricately linked. So even though that was related to my body image and confidence in body image, that would then, if I had allowed it, gone on to my confidence in myself. So that could have affected my business. It could have affected my friendships. It could have affected how I work with my clients. Do you know what I mean? There's so many things that it's insidious, and it's all linked and it's all connected, and it's not just one isolated incident. It will affect everything else. And this is how people go from, you know, like just having a life where they're so unfulfilled and unsatisfied and miserable in all areas of their life, and they can't understand how it's got to that point, because it all just seems like such a big foggy, cloudy mess. But actually, when you pull it back down to its roots, it will have only been started from one small kind of incident that's made you feel bad about yourself in one particular scenario when you were younger, and it spread out to everything. So and I think as well why I wanted to share that story, and I hope like the power of that story is to because I think there's a lot of things out there on social media where it's like, somebody called me this and I could just send them love, and you're like, but I want to make it real. That's why I said that it's like, you know, I'm being vulnerable in this. I want everybody to know that I am a human, and that it does hurt, and I do have these thoughts and feelings, as everybody does. I'm not immune to it, and like I said, you know, earlier, I think a lot of people just want to think that they're going to feel amazing all the time. It doesn't work like that. No. But I have these thoughts and insecurities. I have them. I explained everything that I felt, and yet, even despite having those thoughts, I can still be empowered, and I can still act and react like that, and which means you can too, as long as you know what you have to do to be able to get yourself there. But what I would say is that, you know, like you said, the spiritual aspect side of things has really, really helped me to be able to do that. It's not just the self-development work. If it was just that on its own, I think it would be a much harder struggle. I don't think I'd be where I am now and have the ability to do what I did on that holiday if it wasn't for the spiritual work. Because obviously I've explained it in this podcast, the past life regressions, and understanding, you know, having this understanding of the soul. That's what's allowed me to have that compassion.
The you know, when you leave your body and you look down and your regrets, and the fact that you're then going to have that karma carrying onto your next life because you still haven't cleared it. So your next life, you're gonna have to come and do it again.
That exactly that.
And it makes sense then, doesn't it? So you're doing it all for self-love, because you love yourself.
And going back to kind of what we just said just a minute ago, if everybody could live their lives for themselves, and not worrying about what other people are thinking of them, we'd all be living awesome lives together, you know. And yes, it's not easy, but it is. I'm sat here now saying it's doable. Bear in mind, I'm also battling, like, I was a fat kid.
So
that's my programming. I am always my identity is very much tied up on I'm a little fatty. Because of what I've gone through. And even that,
so it doesn't matter what you look like now.
No.
You always feel like
I've always got that in my mind. So again, I'm always battling that, but doing the work around it. But, and the reason I'm saying that to you is because even though I have those thoughts and feelings that I'm still like that little fat girl who felt different to everybody else, you know, who couldn't wear the same clothes as all her friends were wearing, all the things that come with being a tubby child, I still can lay on a poolside, have someone say I look a steak, and be like, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. And so if that's not saying something about the work that I do with hypnotherapy, because I've used hypnotherapy on myself for 3 years now, and having the spiritual understanding, then I don't know what is. You know, like that was just if you can do that, I think, and that's just one example. That story just shows one example. Like I said, there's loads of things that happen in my life where I can do exactly the same thing. I can, think that's not about me, that's about you.
It's probably quite useful, isn't it, to even go back to things from the past that have maybe, if you can think back to childhood, like you say, just those small things in the playground that is part of your programming. If you could go back and sort of try and release, which is what you're doing, isn't it, in hypnotherapy? So, and releasing, feeling, like you say, feel those feelings that you probably just tried to distract yourself with when you were a little girl or boy in the playground. Go back to that and feel it and let it go, and try and see this other person that made you feel so awful, like you do, but it's for you.
Yes.
And then think of all that stuff you could clear. Because even as children, aren't we are programmed, when you're at nursery school, oh, they hurt my feelings. Oh, come here, you. Come and apologise to Tash. You hurt her feelings when you said that. Oh, I'm sorry, Tash. Okay, now go off and play together. And that's your programming at school, isn't it?
Yeah.
So everyone else is responsible for your feelings.
Exactly.
And then you go on through your whole life with your programming in that way, and then you find spirituality, and it starts breaking it all down and making it make sense and making things work for you. If we could teach children, if we could get to them, and that's why I told my daughter your story, because if they can start seeing things like that at a young age, and that actually, well, I'm responsible for how I feel right now. That's a great start, isn't it? To then go on and not expect, the world's not against you. It's not the world's fault. You can change it whenever you want to change it. But then, like you say, it's not easy. It's not like, oh, okay, let's just start learning about spirituality. It's like, takes time, and you have to have these lessons like you've had sent to you. So the universe will then throw you up a lesson like they did to you. And then you say, oh, wow, I passed that. Or, oh, damn, I'm going to have to wait for my next one to prove that I haven't quite done that. Exactly. And it all takes time. And then the evidence backs up your subconscious. Like, the more, it's proven to you that it works when you think in this way. And then you do it without thinking.
Yeah, that's it.
And then life is a lot easier. I mean, it's like you say, it's never going to be easy. We're never going to feel fab all the time, are we?
No.
But if you can automatically think as well, if something is really, everything's going wrong around you, that there must be some kind of positive lesson within this. Or not even positive lesson, just a lesson.
Which is always positive. It might not feel positive, but if you're learning something, that is always positive.
Like everything could be crumbling down around you, couldn't it? But if you could take a moment and think, what is this trying to teach me here?
That's been a massive key to me being able to get to where I am now, and to be able to work through all the things that I've been trying to change about myself, is seeing everything that happens as a lesson. It's part of building up that positive perspective, because when you see understanding that there is no failure, because failure is just learning. That was a huge one that I had to learn as a perfectionist, like that, and a high achiever. My worth is put on how good I am at what I do, etc. That was a really hard thing to learn, because I didn't like to fail.
No,
I didn't. I was terrified of failing. I couldn't accept failure. But when I learned that actually there is no failure, because when you fail, you learn so much, and it helps you move forward.
I mean, what a great thing!
We can't lose. You literally cannot lose. And so that is a really, really key point. If you can do anything else, and like you brought it up, and it was so true. When I was laying there and she said that, straight away I was like, okay, universe. I've been banging on about how great I feel, and how proud I am of myself for being in my bikini and feeling confident. Thanks for this test. Well, I'm gonna ace it, because I don't want to have to do this again.
And what a great way.
And it was what drove me through doing that work, because again, you don't take it personally.
Yeah.
You're just like, right,
someone sent me this.
someone said thank you.
Yeah.
And that's how you can be grateful. That's how you can start fostering gratitude. Because again, gratitude is a hard one. We're all told to be grateful, and gratitude is really powerful. And it is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
But it's all good and well to say, be grateful. How do you do that? How do you
when
be
you're
grateful?
feeling so rubbish?
Exactly. But when you can start seeing the world, this is why we wanted to do the podcast, isn't it? To talk about the unseen world, because with this self-development stuff, when they're telling you to do these things, if you don't have the spiritual knowledge, the unseen world, that bigger picture understanding, it feels like it's a load of bollocks and like airy fairy stuff. And you're like,
it doesn't have any meaning, does it?
No.
It's like, oh,
well, what, like, how do I do that?
Just throw these words, these flouncy words around.
But when you can see the world as you've never seen it before, which is that it's all an illusion. Go and listen to the previous podcast if you want to dive into that rabbit hole. Yeah. But it's all an illusion. It's all a game for us to come down in this avatar that we're in right now, and we've done it before and we'll do it again, to come down and learn lessons that we want to learn, to grow and expand our consciousness, and to get back to understanding and remembering who we truly are. When you see it that way, you can then play it like a game. So when stuff like that happens, you are able to detach. You are able to see it as, well, what can I learn from this? And you can be grateful that they've given it to you, because for me, I was so grateful for that experience, because it truly showed me that I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Yeah. That all these things I was starting to feel are real, and I have it integrated. And again, like going back to the whole game analogy, it's almost like when things like that happen, you feel like, like the end of Mario, where you like Super Mario when we're younger, showing my age now, and you get onto the flag, the pole, and you've gone up to the next level. That's what it feels like. You're like, yes, I completed this level. Let's go on to the next one, knowing that you're going to come up against other difficult feelings that you haven't experienced before, and it's going to be tough again. Yeah. But knowing that it's all for your growth, and on the other side, or even during, you're feeling better and better about yourself. Yeah. And you're able to enjoy life more and create a better reality for yourself. Yeah. And that is how you can foster gratitude with these understandings, which I've explained to you about seeing this person, for who they truly are, as that soul and as that baby. Imagine them as that baby who was perfect and innocent and cute and gorgeous, Yeah. When you can see them like that, you have these bigger awarenesses, you can start forgiving more easily. Yeah. You can start understanding where forgiveness is coming from. And I'm not telling you have to go out and forgive everyone right now. No, do it when you're ready. At your choice. It's always your choice. Yeah. It's always your responsibility. So if you choose that you can't forgive somebody for whatever, whether it's a big thing or a small thing, whatever, but bearing in mind the little things add up. We all think, it's just a little thing, but they all add up and they can be worse than the big thing sometimes. Yeah. But if you choose to not forgive somebody, that's totally fine. No one's telling you you have to go and forgive everyone that's done awful things to you right now. Otherwise, you're not doing the work. Yeah. Not true. But also know and take responsibility that if you don't forgive them at this point, there is a certain amount that you can't move forward to a certain point. You are only, like you said, you are only hurting yourself. You are not affecting that person in any way, because whether you forgive them or not, it's not really going to affect them, especially if you're not talking, or if you're, if you don't know them, so you're never going to see them again. They don't know. They're not aware. You're only doing it for yourself, because you're choosing to empower yourself and to not let that person's bad actions, horrible actions, affect your life and the people around you in any way. That's your choice. And so that's why, if you can, you want to aim to be able to forgive people for yourself, not for them. And we're not condoning.
That's a great way to finish, isn't it?
Oh, wow. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that story of my me looking a state. I feel like I want to, again, this just shows how much I've kind of grown and how confident I feel in myself now and how I release judgment and I don't care, I probably should put a picture of myself in the bikini, shouldn't I?
Oh, would you do that? Oh, Tash, you're so brave.
That would be
now.
a real like out of my comfort zone. But
Whoa.
everyone should see the
Do
said
it.
bikini.
Yeah,
I might go find a picture.
Oh wow, that is brave.
Yeah,
well done.
But again, like, I'm so grateful for this work. Yeah. I'm so grateful for the understandings that I've gained. And again, if we take it back to like seeing things as a learning lesson and being grateful for everything that happens, whether it's good or bad, I couldn't have got here if it wasn't for my mum dying.
Yeah.
And and I'm grateful that I have been able to learn what I've learned from that awful thing happening to me. And if that can't demonstrate, like,
that's the ultimate.
Yeah, you know, I had this, I can't remember if it was with you or someone else the other day, like, as horrible and as much as I would love to have my mum back, I would do anything to have my mum back, I still wouldn't have it any other way as well. Because I can't imagine not being where I am now. I can't imagine being that old person who I was before my mum died. And I'm pretty sure that if she hadn't have gone, I wouldn't be who I am now. No. And so I'm grateful for that. That's like a very strong thing to say, but I am. Yeah, I'm grateful for that horrible thing happening to me. And so, yeah, if you can see the world like that, look where you can get. Like, honestly, it was my first taste when my mum died of turning something awful. And seeing, what can I learn from this? How can this help me? How can I grow from this? And I did it not because I knew anything about self-development. I didn't know anything about the spiritual world. I was completely a virgin to all of it. But my intuition, and it was a survival technique, a survival mechanism as well, I think, was that I cannot see this as anything, but I got to get something positive out of it. That's all I could do. I got to change. I got to grow from it. And you dove straight into it, didn't you? Literally and didn't stop. Straight into it. Yeah.
And if that hadn't happened, why would you? I mean, that is what's going to push you, isn't it? To do, because you were not willing to accept that that's it. Well, that can't be it.
No.
And I mean, and like you say, look where it's brought you on this incredible journey in so many ways. Not ways that you were thinking when you first, we just wanted to know that wasn't it. Yes. We didn't think it was, but we wanted some, more, you know what Tash is, you probably know what Tash is like by now. She's like, reads 10 books a day. She was straight into it. And like, so we're getting all our proof then from all this information that she's collecting that isn't it. Not at all. No. But then look where it led you. So once you knew that, you just kept going and going, didn't you?
Yeah. So always ask yourself, no matter if it seems like a horrible situation or a bad thing that's happening to you or has happened to you, what can I learn from this?
Yeah.
You don't even have to say, how can I make it positive?
No.
Because sometimes it's really hard
to find
that. Yeah. But if you say, what can I learn from this? That's actually like a secret positive perspective.
Because it's happened.
Yeah.
You can't change what's happened.
No.
So what else is there?
To get something good out of it. Yeah. You may as well. And it's always, again, like we said, like the woman at the pool was a lesson for me, or a test for me, like whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Everything that's happening to us, I don't believe there's any coincidences.
No.
And everything that's happening to us is to help us learn and grow. And it's a mirror reflecting back of what's going on within us.
Yes.
So always use everything. I never miss an opportunity to use what's happening to me to teach me, to help me grow.
Yeah.
From the smallest thing down to, if I stub my toe, I'm like, right, why has that happened? Oh, okay, I need to slow down. Seriously, I would do like, I've fine-tuned my mind so much that every single little thing that happens to me, I will
sort of
ask,
question it.
why is this happening and what do I need to do? And when you do that, like I said, you get back into the whole game thing. You can always see everything as being for your highest and best good.
Yeah.
Everything's trying to help you. And if it's a bad situation, if something goes wrong, I will stop talking now, but I just want to say this as well. With things that happen to you, sometimes there's good things that can happen to you and you can be like, oh, right, well, that was great. And that's taught me this, this, and this. But sometimes there can be things that appear to be really bad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, you could do something, you could have made a decision and lost a load of money doing it. And like, oh, why did I do that? But don't focus on that bad thing that you've lost money. Still focus on, well, what did I learn up until the point that I did that? Why did I need to learn? What lessons did I learn along the way? Don't focus on the fact that it's all ended and it's gone wrong because you've lost the money. Focus on back a little bit. What was it that was teaching you along the way that got you to where you lost the money? Do you see what I mean? So don't focus on that bad ending, but focus on what you learned along the way. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Because you'll find that there are, if you're looking for it, there'll be things that you can say, oh, right, okay, well, I actually did learn to do that, and they are all positive things. Yeah, you lost the money, but don't worry about it because everything will be working out for me. And the more you can start thinking about, what is this teaching me? How am I learning? That helps you start fostering and holding on to the belief that everything is always working out for me. It doesn't matter how bad things get, like, you lose your money, you lose your house, you lose your job. But if you hold that belief of things are always working out for me, you're always going to be okay. And you can hold that belief by asking, what is this teaching me? What can I learn? Does that make it's just like that. It's like the chicken and the egg kind of thing. It all works together. And so
exactly,
again, it's just helping you to create a life that you actually want to live in.
I mean, that's why there's people, we all know people, don't we, in those situations that have maybe lost something, gone bankrupt or lost their house, and they pick themselves up, and next time you see them, they're they've got an even better house than they had before, or you get the ones that, and I guess they are the ones that are able to say that, well, okay, so I won't do that again, right, let's go. Let's do it again.
That's it. And how many times do you hear people say, I'm so grateful that X bad thing happened to me, because if it didn't, this wouldn't have happened, and then that wouldn't have happened to get me to here where I am. The universe works in mysterious ways. And if you'd have told me 4 years ago when my mom died, this is going to be an incredible thing that's happened to you, I would have gone, you're sick in the head. I don't believe you. My life's over. I don't know how I'm going to carry on. And yet, just 4 years later, because it's really not, I'm living a completely different reality to what I was living back then. And I could never have dreamed that what's like happened to me now and what I'm doing now
all came from
that
horrible thing.
So,
wow. Namaste.
We're going to go now because we've said we were going to go about like how long it's. It's 1. Right, let's go while it's a little bit. It's lovely to be back.
Yes,
it's lovely to speak to you all again. Let us know. I would really, really like to hear from you guys in our group. You can find the link if you're not already part of our Facebook group. You can find the link below. But I'd really like to hear what you guys think about this whole story, like your thoughts, and if you think like you could ever see yourself getting to be able to not take it personally, or any questions you have, but like Tash, you said this, but how can I do it? Some real ways of what you could do.
If they could give you like you say, how do I do it? Give you the situation they've had. So how do I do it in this situation?
Perfect.
That would be great.
So as long as you don't mind being, putting yourself out there, being vulnerable on the Facebook page, give us some, give us some things that have happened to you, and I'll get on to Facebook and I will say how I would work through it. I mean, that's what I do with my clients. When, outside our sessions, when we have the contact outside, that's exactly what they're doing to me. They're saying, this has happened, I feel this about myself. And then that's when I come in and go, right, well, how about you see it this way, do this. And then they're like, oh, yes. Because you all know it. You all know what you want to do. You all know the truth.
Just need that teacher.
just
Which
need a
is
little
what
bit
you
of
are.
an
Yeah.
outside perspective.
Yes.
And, so let us know. That would be really fun. And then I can get back to that on the Facebook group. Otherwise, it's been lovely to chat to you all, and we will see you again very soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.